was fatigued because the adrenaline just kept you up, and not want to let your teammates down. So it's like if you was tired, you couldn't be tired because that one play, that one mistake could cost you the game.
Go ahead, sir.
Congratulations on Tremaine and Jordan. You guys played loosely in the first half, making a lot of mistakes. Second half, you guys was more calm, had a little swag on. What point of the game you guys was like, we got this, we're gonna win this game? Because all of a sudden you go into the perimeter, got them off the baseline, street the paint. What was then going through you guys' mind?
I think when Deion hit that three in the right corner, I was like, here we go. Then I think I got the steal, got fouled, came back, we went 45 slip. Tremaine passed to me, I made one more, Deion hit it again, another three. So then right there, I was like, okay, everybody's locked in. I looked at my teammates' fouls. I seen Haas. He was blocking everything, challenging all shots, and we rebounded. So I knew when Deion hit that three in the corner, it was good.
Go ahead.
For me, I think the possession was, I don't remember what it was, but we made there was like a media timeout or something, and we made a simple adjustment, which we talked about before the game, which was to not force the ball middle. JB or whoever was guarding Stockard, forced it back to the baseline sideline side. And ever since that little adjustment, it was hard for them to get into the rhythm. And they started shooting shots at the end of the shot clock, and I could just feel it. We're at 6-7.
It only took us 30 minutes to get that down. It took us 30 minutes to grasp that concept. Yeah. This is what we really had about an hour shoot around before I walked in this.
So that media timeout, and then after that, I just felt more connected with everybody on the court. And look at us. Coach knows what he's talking about.
Every once in a while.
Sir, in the second row, go ahead.
Congratulations, guys. Jaquan Bowden, Dreams NYC. Can you just elaborate and talk about the experience playing in this tournament in Brooklyn?
This experience is like I can't even compare it to any other thing I've been a part of. I think for me, having extra years under my belt and winning this year is gonna make me and my team like way better next year because I know. And I learned a lot from Tremaine, still learning. Just watching him handle all type of ball screens and just being a playmaker. And when you got guys like Javon Best that lead with his work ethic and everything, it just make everything better and easy for us. We got a lot of good freshmen this year. We got a good class next year. So this experience going to just help this program go up.
In the front row.
Hey, Tremaine, you know, of course, we go back to the days when you were playing at Drexel University, and now you come here to the Atlantic 10 and you win the most outstanding player. Take me through, I guess, from the Drexel to now being here at St. Louis.
A lot's transpired. The decision to leave Drexel was hard in itself. The coaches there have done a lot for me. Coach Forty, I've known him since I was a kid. He coached at University of Washington. Coach Spiker, great coach. The entire staff, love him to death. But Coach Ford told me I would be a part of something special. You know what I mean? And I believed him. And just sitting here as an A-10 champion, I wouldn't change anything. I think here I'm not asked to do as much. I got, like I said, a guy like sitting next to me that would go 16 points and 14 rebounds with 6 offensive rebounds. That's 6, 3.
And what's amazing about it is every team is trying to not let him rebound.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing. Their whole game was don't let him rebound. And that's what's amazing about it. He still does it, and that's what they're trying to stop. Amazing.
But I'm happy to be here.
Sure.
Coach Ford, it speaks for itself. The basketball resume is, what you want as a point guard
Sure.
who wants to be like a professional basketball player one day. So just being in practice with him, seeing how much he dedicates himself to the game, whether it's on the court or watching film, things like that, has definitely been a learning experience.
Is there a final question for the athletes? Gentlemen, I'm going to let you guys go back to your locker room. Congratulations. Now we'll take questions for the coach. Yes, right here, sir.
Good coach, congratulations with the first question. Basically, what did you do defensively to sort of get the second half match up with them?
Well, in the first half, we were changing defenses a lot, and it wasn't working, and it's been working the last couple of games. It was working. As you saw, the 1-3-1 was dominant last night. They picked it apart first two possessions, and I got out of it. And you know, we tried a couple. You know, and I came into the tournament, and this is not something we've done at all until we got here. I came into the tournament wanting to change defenses and figure out which ones are working, and then go with that the rest of the game. For a couple reasons, to try to conserve energy. If we're going to win 4 games, we had to figure out just 5 to 6 minutes in a game, where can we conserve a little bit of energy, and then try to keep teams off balance a little bit. And tonight we started out changing defenses, and none of them were working except for our man-to-man. And so we just stuck with that. And at halftime we made a few adjustments. We reiterated, don't give up the middle and how we're going to guard ball screens. How we wanted to guard them, I thought would work. We just weren't doing it. And we just kind of, in a forceful way at halftime, this is the way it needs to be done. If you'll do it, it'll work. And these guys, they have a competitive nature about them that's fun to watch and fun to coach. I've said it all year long. We're not the prettiest team. We're not going to go out there and beat you with a bunch of shots and look, you know. But there's something that clicks about them at some point in the game, and he made a good point. At some point in the game, we gain ultra confidence, and it just takes off. Now, sometimes we're playing good. There's something about every game that we have success in, that something happens, and we just take off. Last night's game, we did it for 40 minutes. I hadn't seen that from us in a while, for 40 minutes. Tonight, we had a teammate who did not get in the game last night, who's a senior, and one, they all get along great, but everybody loves Dion in our locker room. Just a very mature, he's like the father figure probably in the locker room, and everybody loves him. And I thought last night's game was a little bit of a tough matchup, the way Davidson cuts and all that. Dion Wally's the first guy in breakfast this morning. He walks in first before everybody else. Didn't play a minute last night. Comes over, big smile on his face, passed me on the back, shakes my hand. Coach, let's get this one today. I thought, all right, he's ready. So I went with him early in the second half because of his experience. And he made a couple big shots, and I think our guys fed off of it, not just because he made them. And I think it might have been the 8-minute timeout. We had made a run back. I do know this. We'd cut it to 4 after being down quite a bit. And I always make an effort to kind of watch the other team during the timeout, how they go their huddle. And I'd set our guys down and said, guys, we got it. We need to step on it now. They were hot. One thing I told our guys early in the game is this is the best thing that happened to us. Them jumping out on us. I'm trying to keep our guys confident, ready to go. But this is great. I've seen this 100 times, guys. We're fine. Let's let them get this out of their system. They're playing unbelievable. They're jacked up. They're excited. They're a good basketball team. But our time will come. Our time will come if you just hang in there. But at the 8-minute mark, I think it was, I told them, all right, now let's put the pedal to the metal. Let's let loose a little bit. Let's get a little more aggressive on defense. Let's try to get a steal somewhere. And Jordan made a big steal. I can go on and why I think. First half, they got every 50-50 ball. I was so upset with our guys about not putting our head into play. Second half, guys were like overdoing it. I mean, they were literally reaching and just scrapping for every single play. But how we won the game is who we are. You know, we're just a hard-playing, physical, aggressive basketball team, and sometimes I play 6, sometimes I might play 7.
In the front row right here.
Congratulations, Coach, on the win. I'd love to have been in the locker room for that halftime speech. Second half, like you were saying earlier, you guys guarding the perimeter, stuck to the hips, you know.
You were in that locker room, it sounds like.
I've been around a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you, the mentality, because anybody can draw X and O's, but the mentality of your guys emanates on the court. So how did you translate it to them?
One adjustment, and I thought Stockard was getting loose a little bit, even from the top of the key off ball screens. It's not, so we started switching a little bit in the second half, started switching some ball screens with certain guy. I was taking a little bit of chance because I was like, you three are gonna switch, you two are not gonna switch. What we call tracking it, you're gonna track. And we had like everybody doing something differently, but the common denominator was give them zero space. They need to feel, they need to smell your breath. It's like that when they go on a ball screen, they come off a stagger, they come along the baseline. If your man's along the baseline, he's coming out somewhere. He's not down there hanging out. Anytime your man cuts to the baseline or cuts through, he is coming out somewhere. Could Babe come back? He could come out the other side. But there needs to be no space whatsoever. It's the only way. We've got to gain physicality. We've got to gain aggressiveness somehow because they had it. And the defense, we always gain our confidence on defense. It's not going to happen on offense. That's not. We don't even worry about that. We don't even think about that. We think about defense so much because we know that in rebounding, that dictates everything else that we're going to do. If we happen to make a few shots, because that even gives us even that much more energy and confidence to play defense. And there was a stretch that I mentioned. I told our guys, every shot they're taking is coming up short. Every single shot they're taking is coming up short. You gotta put the pedal down right now. Right now, you're gonna have to make your run right now. And I thought if we could get a little distant lead about to the 2 to 3 minute mark with the way we shoot free throws, you never know. But we were able to finish it out, and it was close there at the end. We gave up shots we obviously are not supposed to be giving up, but looking out for us.
You mentioned yesterday about how you're a team that really didn't get a whole lot of sleep. You mentioned that you were up till 3 or 4 in the morning. The coaches, the players didn't get to bed till about 1:30 or 2. I just have to ask this, or I wouldn't be doing my job. How in God's name did you pull this thing off? I mean, especially with, like you said, the lack of sleep that you've had and the lack of time to prepare, I guess.
Yeah, I think our team's been through a lot of adversity this year. You look at injuries. You pick to win the league, different things that I never did really buy into that. All that stuff.
Okay. We
only had like 3 or 4 players even returning off last year's team. Because this all goes to answer your question. We've been through a lot of adversity that toughens you up a little bit. And when you're picked first and you don't really go through the league quite the way you even wanted to, through even all that, we let some games go that maybe we thought we shouldn't have. So you come to a tournament with something to prove. Something that's, this is, people, something to prove. And when you're out to prove something, you get a little taste of it. And what I mean, a little taste. You beat Richmond, and you beat Dayton. Now you got to now you feel like, wait a second here. Now you want more of it. And when you're focused in on the game plan, and one thing, I only mentioned it last night after the game very briefly about the NCAA tournament, about what an incredible event it is. And then I was done talking. Then we had to focus on the game. Don't focus on the outcome. Focus on what you need to do to get the outcome.
Gotcha.
So I didn't talk about, beyond that point, I didn't talk about what this game meant other than what do we need to do to beat St. Bonaventure. You don't worry about being fatigued when you're laser focused and you're focused on doing your job. You don't have time to think about that. And I don't think these guys had time to think about it. I think they had more to prove than what we didn't want is if we weren't successful, that we look back and say, oh, we were tired. That wouldn't have been an excuse. But when you're focused on something, you don't let outside things distract you. We've had enough things like that have toughened us up, I think, a little bit. And as I told our guys, our team is made up of a lot of different guys coming from a lot of different areas. We all came here, and 3 years ago we were picked dead last in this league. Dead last to go to a program that was struggling, and picked dead last 3 years ago. And I told these guys they put a lot of work in it. They put a lot of time in it. And my pregame talk tonight was totally about how much we've worked every single day competing against each other in practice. You competed each other in practice for opportunities like this, and I don't even give ourselves time to think about it. We prepare so much. We over prepare. That I don't give our guys time to think about anything else going on because we got a lot of guys from New York now. We got a lot going on, and trying to keep these guys focused. And think about the game plan, and think about what we need to do to win the game, and nothing else.
I'll take two more, the gentleman there and then the guy in the